Hi, I'm Jo Taylor and welcome to the Misadventures podcast. So we're back, episode 2. See, I knew you'd want to keep podding with me.
Well, yeah, I know. I told you on the last episode I have got nothing better to do with my time than this.
And you sound really excited, and so you should, because we've got a really good episode coming up. So for this episode, we've recorded with Freddy Quinne, a comedian that's been on the circuit for about 10 years. He's performed at the Edinburgh Fringe Festival, and he's a regular at the Hot Water Comedy Club in Liverpool. In this episode, we're going to be talking about Europe and Indonesia.
And Wigan.
Yeah, and Wigan. Freddie also shares with us what sounds like a pretty awful flight. Stamps, are you a nervous flyer?
I am not a nervous flyer, but as soon as there's a little bit of turbulence, I'm convinced I'm dying.
So I'm not a nervous flyer. I'm all right, and it's probably a good job because the first girls' holiday that I ever went on, me and my friends were flying to Zante, or we thought we were.
What do you mean you thought you were? You've got on the wrong plane.
No. We did everything right. We were on the plane, and it's quite a long flight. I didn't realise it was such a long flight to Greece. And my friend was asleep, and then turbulence started. And I didn't realise that my friend was also a pretty nervous flyer. So when the turbulence started and it woke her up, not just by the movement of the plane, but the sheer screams from the other passengers on the plane.
Now, hang on. I'm with your friend. If she's asleep and there's enough turbulence to wake her up, as well as people screaming on the plane, she is well within her rights to be a little bit worried.
Yeah, but I think I'm just quite a logical person. There's literally nothing I can do. There's nothing I can do.
So it's not that you're not a nervous flyer, it's that you've accepted the end is coming.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's probably I'm more accepting of situations that I know I've got no influence on, and me reacting in a way of screaming and getting all hysterical is just going to make the situation worse. It's going to make it really difficult for the people working on the plane, isn't it?
That's it. We better make sure everything's still nice and easy for them to do their job.
Yes, because if there's going to be a chance of me surviving, it's by me just sitting here and being quiet.
And you're going to want a drink afterwards.
Yeah, so don't want to piss them off. So basically everyone started screaming, kids were crying, it was quite the scene.
Pandemonium.
Yeah, and my friend was upset, and I was like, "You're right, it's all right, chill out, we're going to be okay."
That sounds very reassuring.
I'm not a pilot, there's nothing more, I don't know anything about planes, there's not much more I can tell her, is there?
And yet here you are telling them it's all going to be okay.
It will be fine, it will be fine.
Right.
Turbulence is nothing to worry about.
Okay.
What came later is what she had to worry about, so... So Bing Bong pilot tells us that basically there's some pretty bad weather in Greece, and just tells us that we're going to have to keep circling around the airport. So we're flying around for probably like a good 20 minutes, half an hour.
What, just flying around what? Just circling around and around?
Yeah. So because we missed our landing time. And then basically my friend went back to sleep.
She's got over it now. I'm still alive. It's all right. I'm having a kip.
Yeah, she flew a lot anyway, so she was used to it. And basically the pilot tells us that the weather is so bad we can't land in Zante because there was lightning, and another plane got hit by lightning.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and had to land, like an emergency landing.
I mean, at this point, I'm looking for a parachute.
It's not that bad. It's fine. I mean, there probably isn't a parachute, so I'd advise you to stay in the cabin rather than trying to jump out at it. And then basically, bing bong, over the tannoy again, pilot tells us we're just going to have to do an emergency landing. He said it's going to be really bumpy, it's going to be a bit rushed, but you'll be okay, apparently.
Yeah, at this point, I am definitely thinking I'm dead.
Yeah, so we're landing and everything is going okay. But it's just the fact that we had then another, I think, 2 hours wait on the plane. They didn't want to let us off the plane. So by this point, we were pretty tired and a bit pissed off because we thought we were going to be a few drinks down by this time of the day.
I think I already would be. I'd be emptying that cart on the plane.
Well, they weren't serving alcohol.
It sounded like you just want to be nicking it. It was carnage up there.
So eventually got onto this organised coach to go take us to this hotel. And they told me that the hotel had been knocked down. They didn't have enough bookings apparently, so they just knocked it down. Knocked it down.
What an amazing start to your holiday.
Yeah, we thought we'd booked a really nice hotel. Apparently, so bad that not only was it not getting custom, but they thought they would just take a wrecking ball to it.
That's what you do. No one's coming, knock down the hotel.
So we were put into this artisanal B&B on the main strip in Zante. So it turned out for the best, to be fair. It was all right in the end. Had the 2 weeks, came back, brilliant time.
Everything worked out all right. Let's see how Freddy gets on.
Hi Freddy, welcome to the Misadventures podcast. How are you doing today?
I am super duper. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. So, just want to start with kind of from where you've been perspective. Have you got like a number one place that has been somewhere that you absolutely loved, you've been maybe multiple times, or you've got the best memories there?
Gosh, that's kind of hard. I like travelling a lot, so I go all over the place. So I don't really have a number one, but I tend to, I know this is going to sound really sort of like a wanky Tumblr quote, but I tend to find something good in everywhere that I end up going.
That's on a poster somewhere, isn't it?
Oh yeah, that's up there with that's sold at B&M Bargains along with the Live Laugh Love sign.
Seize the day.
Oh God, I hate them fucking signs.
So I can't really pick anywhere. I mean, I've got a favourite place that I've ever been to, I suppose, and that's Bali. That sort of knocked me for six. It was like paradise on earth. But I've kind of enjoyed most places that I've been.
So I guess going back to the comment that you just made, that you can find somewhere, you can find something good about anywhere that you've been. What's probably the place that you've been to then that you wouldn't anticipate being able to really have like a decent night out in, or find something really cool to do, but you have actually managed to find either really cool bar or something to go and do there that's really unexpected?
Ooh, I quite liked Warsaw. If you've never been to Warsaw, it's a really interesting city in that it's really fucking ugly. Like it's incredibly horrible to look at. It's very difficult to like from an aesthetic perspective, but it's got such a defined personality about the place, and I just really sort of. It felt like you were holidaying at the Underdog. Do you know what I mean? Like there was a certain level of like pluckiness about the place that I just loved. I mean, to look at it from a certain, from an aesthetic perspective, it's not as nice as Tuscany or anything like that, but it's just got this personality about it. It's been bombed and it's been overthrown and it's been, beaten and battered and bruised so many times that they've pretty much just given up rebuilding the place, and yet it's still got this personality about it that I find infectious. Like I go to some places and I'm just like, like I don't like going to places where I know what to expect before I get there.
The ones all over Instagram, and
yes.
you've seen the whole city before you've actually been.
This is it. So I feel like I've been to Rome. I've never been to Rome, but I feel like I've been 1,000 times. Whereas Warsaw, I'm more interested about going there because I go, well, what's it going to be like? What's going to be there? What's Warsaw like as a place? Hamburg is another great one. I've got no real desire to go to, even though I have been to Berlin, I didn't really have a desire to go there because it was very much like, everyone kind of knows what to expect in Berlin. But Hamburg and, going around St. Pauli and the Reeperbahn and stuff, you can have a brilliant night out there. It's fantastic.
I've heard good things about Hamburg and Hamburg's nightlife from friends who have been. They say it's
actually
really good.
Got the largest red light district in Europe. So everyone thinks Amsterdam's the place for your prozzies. Not so.
I lived in Amsterdam for 3 years. Yeah, that was an experience. Lived and worked there for 3 years.
Do you know what? It's Amsterdam, I think, is a cruel joke in that why on earth would they make semicircular street plans and have everyone stoned? And have random canals in the middle of the street and
that
bikes.
That does seem really dangerous.
Oh, it's a knockout for stoned people. Do you know what I mean? It's so easy to get lost around.
Do they still have those urinals that are outside?
Yeah.
Is that like really a thing?
Yeah, the green, they've got a little dignity sheet and you just lean against it and
a dignity sheet.
Let yourself
Come off it.
Let yourself
If you're
go.
using one of them, hasn't your dignity already gone?
I mean, to be fair, men can piss anywhere.
This is my point. You don't need it.
That's why they're there though, because no one wants to see, some stone bloke walking down with his wang hanging out, having a piss down the street, do they? So they put a little urinal there. You think, I've only got to stagger 100 foot and I'm away there.
The first time I went to Amsterdam was when I was travelling. I did the Eurorail when I was in my early 20s, and I went travelling around Central Europe. And I went to Amsterdam, and I was like, I've had weed on many occasions, allegedly for entertainment purposes on the podcast. And I was like, I've got a fairly good tolerance to the stuff back home. How much more different can it be?
Yep.
And oh my shitting Christ, I lost my mind. I've never felt that bad on any drugs ever. Like it was like, when you're pissed and the world sort of spins. It was like I was so high, the world was spinning on like 2 different axes. I was gone, right? And I remember, I reckon I was walking around for at least 2 hours. But I was walking around and I was wearing this big parka, and I had the hood of the parka over my face, and I had the fur covering my face because I was convinced that passers-by were just going to punch me in the face. I would happily be the most pissed I've ever been for an entire week rather than feel like how I felt like I was whiteying on weed. It was that much worse.
It's the equivalent, Joe, of a JD and Coke, is like having a joint in the UK and then is different to cracking the top off a bottle of JD and down in the lot.
It's like if you drunk pints of beer all your life and then you went to a bar that only sold pints of absinthe.
Exactly.
And you were like, well, I've had a pint before. I'll just ignore what's inside of it. The measurement seems the same. Let's go right ahead and experiment with this.
The best ones are like the mums and that are going, I'll have a cake, I'll have a brownie because that'll be all right.
This is right up my street. I think I would definitely go for the cakes and things, but I am aware that like people can have them and then be like, I'm fine.
I'll have another.
I'm gonna have another 10 to see what happens, and then they get into worlds of problem. But I do think the cake way is probably what I would do.
I'll tell you this, and this comes as a man who took all sorts of drugs in his 20s. The very worst thing that you can do is take a drug, not feel it instantly, and then go, well, this is shit. The only solution to this problem is to have another 3 of what I've just had. And then the first one hits you, and you go, oh, shit. And you can't actually enjoy where you're at because you know that even though right now is too much for you to handle, it's right at the very top of your tolerance scale, it's about to get at least 3 times worse. And there's nothing you can do about it. It's not like, if you're getting pissed, when you can tell when you've had... Right, so here's the thing. You've all heard the term one too many drinks. Oh, I've had one too many. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
One too many drinks means that you need to have yourself a bottle of water and you need to have a sit down with you and your bestie and you just need to have a little chat, get a bit of fresh air. I'm going to look after you, babes. Whereas one too many with pills is like on the floor shitting your pants. You know what I mean? Like this, you're done.
There's no nipping to the loo, having a quick sick and coming back and getting another glass of wine after that, is there?
What, tactical
what's wrong with you?
Tactical chunders.
What's wrong with your friend? Oh, he's had one too many bags of MDMA.
Just coming back to the brownies.
You and food. Even if it's got drugs in it, it's food.
Do they sell normal brownies as well? Because a decent brownie is a decent brownie. And if I'm having a brownie with weed in it, and then I'm like, that was really good. I want it for just the taste of the brownie.
I mean, they're not
rather than having
bakers.
Yeah, but brownies aren't hard to make, though, are they? You know, like in Costa now, what they do is with their brownies, not with weed in it, they have like, they label them to say it's like a centerpiece or a corner piece or an edge piece, and they're all wrapped up separately in cling film. You could do the same thing. You could have one that's got weed in it and not got weed in it. So you can have the first one with the weed in it, have the effect, but if you still then want some more brownies,
Because
you
you've
can
got the
just take
munchies.
them. Yeah, I can't just have one brownie.
I feel like you veered off track, to be honest.
Yeah, so let's come back to
Travel.
the trip around Europe.
Oh, I'll tell you where I've been that's really nice. Bruges. That's really good for a night out, purely because it's like a little medieval city and they take beer really, really seriously. So yeah, that's great. If you've ever been to, if you're ever around northern Belgium, then Bruges is very much one that I'd recommend. Oh, I'll tell you what's a really great night out, and one of my favourite places in the world, actually, Budapest. And what it is basically is they have a load of things called ruin bars, which are bars that are in the courtyards of what used to be the old Jewish quarter, that they've kind of kitted out with essentially rubbish. What happens in Budapest is twice a year you can leave all of your shit on the pavement, and people walk past, and it's like a giant citywide jumble sale, and people can pick on, you know, like if they want something that you're throwing out, then they can have it, and then you can, you know, and then at the end of the day, the council gets rid of anything that people don't want. That's something that they do, and they actually use that to kit out the ruin bars in Budapest. So these are these cool, trendy bars in the Jewish quarter that have been kitted out essentially with people's shit, and they are a fantastic night out.
What, and you're just looking at all the shit that people used to own?
Oh, dude, like, I've been drinking in places that are courtyards, and in the courtyard there's like half a car, and it's like you're drinking in the front part of a car. And it's just great.
That sounds amazing.
It's like, let me tell you what it's like. It's like what I would imagine a nightclub to be like during a zombie apocalypse.
Nice.
So who did you go there with? Were you on your own or did you go with friends?
No, I was just, so I've been there a couple of times. I went once when I was travelling, and then I went once for my mum's birthday. So I did, when I was travelling, Vienna, Bratislava and Budapest are all quite close to each other. And I went to all of them. Vienna, lovely. Budapest, lovely. Bratislava, possibly the biggest shithole I've ever been to in my life. It's tied with Jakarta for shittest place I've ever been. So the thing is with Bratislava is that it's got Vienna less than an hour away, and it's got Budapest just over an hour away. And so even though it's the capital of Slovakia, they don't feel like anyone's ever going to go there, so they just don't bother making it look nice at all. Because in their head, it's like someone going on holiday to Warrington. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
why would you?
It's like there's Liverpool, there's Manchester. Why the fuck are you going on a night out in Warrington? What are you doing, you weirdo? So
yeah, exactly. If there's like Budapest and Vienna, literally, you know, you're not going to choose a place in the middle, are you? It's a bit strange. It's like the Wigan of yeah,
of Europe.
It sounds like Wigan, yeah.
But I mean, Wigan's not bad for a night out. They got Wigan Pier. You know, you can. They dress up.
Well, all
on
the
Boxing
celebs are going
Day
to Wigan, aren't they? Have you
What?
like seen the? Yeah. So there's this thing where you know, like Jeffree Star, they go to Wigan and they like take pictures of themselves at Wigan train station because they think it's the cool new trendy place to go that's not cool and trendy yet. So they want to be ahead of the curve.
Fuck up! I don't believe this.
Genuinely.
At all. Give me a second.
Right, I'm googling.
Right, now I'm looking
Jeffree
at
Star, Wigan train station.
I'm listening to you both, and if you don't mind me saying, you don't have what I would say a defined northern accent. Whereas I live very near to Wigan, and I live about 20 minutes away from Wigan, and for me, that's too close for comfort. So why anybody would want to go to Wigan willingly, especially Jeffree Star, somebody who, let's be fair, doesn't necessarily look like they would fit in Wigan. I don't understand why they're going there.
I mean, I'm sorry, Freddie, but she's right. Somebody tell me why Jeffree Star is giving it large at Wigan Northwestern. It is literally the talk of Twitter.
Is it like
I don't think
thing?
it's that.
Last year, by the looks of it.
Yeah.
Living the dream, Jeffrey is.
Mm-hmm.
Jeffree Star at Wigan.
And he's not the only one. I think
mind.
there's others.
Wigan North. I mean, living the dream.
Basically,
which one do they go to? Because there's two right next to each other. There's Wigan Wallgate, and then there's Wigan Northwestern. So which one is it?
I think it's Northwestern.
Yeah, Wigan North Wigan Northwest is the place to be.
How fuming would you be if you were a member of staff at Wallgate, the one 5 minutes down the road, and you've got Kanye West and Kim Kardashian showing up at Northwestern for a photo shoot, and you've got to deal with a tramp that's just pissed himself.
I think as well, if we're going Kim and Kanye, I mean, isn't one of their kids literally called Northwest? So you can see the mistake they've made there. They're like, this would be a great photo opportunity.
Potentially.
They've gone full meta in Wigan.
Maybe they're going to start naming all their kids after shit northern towns.
The train stations.
Yeah.
Chorley
It's
North.
Please. We've got Chorley West. We've got St Helens. That's our young daughter.
Oh God. So there you are, enlightened about Jeffree Star being in Wigan, 20 minutes down the road from you.
I've got no idea. I only learned who Jeffree Star was the other day because there was that rumour about them having sex with Kanye. But that was literally it. Until then, I lived in ignorance. Do you know what? To be fair, I can imagine why Wigan would be an attractive destination for Jeffree Star, because I don't imagine that a lot of Jeffree Star's audience is Wigan based.
No, fair.
It'd be
That's the thing, isn't it? There probably has more kind of like fan base in Manchester, but he wants to break that mould. He wants to go outside of the Manchester area.
It'd be like Paddy McGuinness going on holiday to Ohio. It's like there's nobody in rural Ohio that's going, I recognise you from Take Me Out.
There's a lot of Phoenix Knights fans in Ohio.
You say that though, but you might not think this is very strange, but I thought it was quite peculiar. I was on a night out in Nashville and I was in a bar and the band started playing Come On Eileen and the place absolutely erupted.
It's an anthem.
Apparently.
I am reading online here on the Dexy's Midnight Runners Wikipedia page that Come On Eileen was actually topped the US Billboard Hot 100.
There you go, you see.
Oh, well, what do I know?
Massive big one-hit wonder was Dexy's Midnight Runners.
I kind of got invited to a private party at the bar. It was with a load of Americans that were just there on like a work kind of event. And when they met me and they were like, oh, this is Jo from England. When that song came on, they all went crazy. They're like, Jo, this is your song. I was like, it's not really my song, but I can understand what you're saying there. And they were all just going crazy because they had like an English girl that was partying with them, and then Come On Eileen came on.
And like I've mentioned before, Jo, I'm not, the vibe you give off. A lot of your stories seem to start with you ending up on a random night out with random people.
Well, yeah, because when you go travelling on your own, you've got to meet people somehow, and generally bars are the best place to meet them, aren't they? So I can see what you're saying there, Freddie. But maybe the capital, it might find its place. Jeffree Star might be thinking about going there now.
I can't believe I've forgotten why we've even gotten talking about Jeffree Star and Wigan.
Jo said Bratislava's like the Wigan of Europe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going back to Bruges, because I've been to Bruges. And
it's great, isn't it?
Yes, I love it.
Did you, sorry to interrupt, did you seek out Dugar?
Yes, so this is what I wanted to mention, because I'm guessing Jo won't know about this. So in Dugar, I had the equivalent of the Whitey experience in Amsterdam, where I went into Dugar and I was told how good it was, and I found the little alleyway, and I went and sat down and I ordered a Dugar triple, and it came with like a lovely plate of cheese. They love giving you some cheese with your beer.
Oh, they love that.
And I thought, oh, this is lovely, and it was nice and dark in there. So I proceeded to have 3 or 4 more, and I felt absolutely fine until I walked outside.
And then it was all over for you.
And then
you've just been drinking 12% beer. It's a very weird atmosphere, Dugard, isn't it? It's like being in a womb.
Yes.
It's all sort of
So like all nice
cozy.
and safe while you're there.
Yeah, very much so.
And then you come out into the real world screaming. Yeah, it's a weird one. So Dugard, if you don't know, is a legendary beer brewery, little place that sells this one beer that doesn't sell anything else, who doesn't let the beer be sold anywhere else.
Yes.
But you've got to find it. And it's right next to the Belfort, which is the big fuck-off bell tower in the middle of the city. And it's literally next to it. And it's one of those things where you could walk up and down this road 10 times and you'd miss this little alley every single time. It's tiny. But once you see where it is, it was staring in front of you the whole time. But having to find it, it's got a little sort of Alice in Wonderland element about it. And once you've found it, that in itself feels like an achievement. Don't go back in January, February, because it's shut, as is most of Bruges. And I know this because I took my girlfriend on our very first holiday to Bruges during the time when it was off-season and literally everything was fucking closed. And she was like, why have you brought me to a medieval town where nothing is open? And I was like, I don't know.
Was it a genius plan where you thought this is an amazingly romantic gesture and it's going to be cheap as chips?
Yeah, I mean, it was either that or taking her to Wigan, which is commonly referred to as the Bratislava of the Northwest.
At least things would have been open, right?
Yeah, you could have got a photo shoot with Jeffree Star.
Could have gone celeb spotting.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
look,
like I
it's
said, he's not
Liam
he's not the
Neeson
only
over
one.
there, paying for a day rider. And it's George Clooney coming out of a Greg's.
Liam Neeson filming Taken 4.
Do you reckon superstars like that all meet each other? Do you reckon they all know each other? Do you reckon there's like a WhatsApp group just full of action movie stars in? There's like Tom Cruise and Liam Neeson and Danny Craig.
There's got to be.
WhatsApping each other. Jason Statham. Oh, just saw your latest film. You didn't even do a car chase, you pussy. You know.
And then Daniel Craig's going, oh, for fuck's sake, Henry Cavill's trying to get back in again. And they're like, no, block him, the boring fucker, don't let him in.
But the thing is, though, I don't know what a girl's WhatsApp group is like, but I imagine it's like quite nice and supportive. Whereas a male-only WhatsApp group is like just full of pictures of severed dicks.
So I can enlighten you and say that, I mean, it depends on the girls, but also, I mean, girls' WhatsApps can also include those types of pictures, because essentially if we receive a picture, we will then send it to the group to be like, girls, oh my God, look at this. Isn't this crazy?
Do you know what, though, is if your dick is getting sent around in girls' WhatsApp groups, it's one of two things. It's either the most beautiful, perfect dick in the world, or it is an absolute catastrophe of epic proportions. And I reckon it's more of the latter. Like, I don't reckon there's many girls going, hey, look, this guy just sent me a picture of his dick, and fair play to him, that is outstanding. Do you know, I reckon most of the time it's like, what the fuck is that? What's going on there?
So I'll tell you what it is. It's the attempt at taking a sexy photo.
Oh, it's not a sexy object.
Oh, yeah. But it's like if they try and do like a pose or anything like that. Just not great. One time, actually, not necessarily like using WhatsApp, but one time I was on a train with the girls on our way to our night out. One of the girls received a dick pic on Snapchat, and the girl receiving it kind of knew what it was going to be, so she was like, girls, come on, gather round, because it'll only be on the screen for a couple of seconds.
Gather round,
everyone.
When we're all stood there ready,
come close, you're going to need to
gather round, and I shall show ye a picture of a dick the likes of which you have never seen. So this is a travel podcast, I've heard.
Yeah, let's do
it. Yeah, it's about all, the places that you visited and all the experiences you've had. So far, we've touched on a bit of Europe and Wigan.
Yeah, it's it's very much gone all over the place, which is sort of in the spirit of things, isn't it?
Yeah, so if we just get back onto the travel bit, let's just leave the dicks alone for a minute. And so we've covered Europe, but you said that you've been like further out than Europe? So where else have you been?
Yeah, so like I did a stand-up tour of Asia in 2019. Where did I go? I went to Phuket, Bangkok, Jakarta, Bali, Singapore, Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh, and Kuala Lumpur.
Wow.
Yeah, man, it was good.
We watched a couple of your clips from the Singapore show.
That was nice. The dude who was supporting me that night was Nigel Ung, who's since gone on to create the character Uncle Roger. Which has multi-million followers.
Yeah.
And he was supporting me that night, so he's done better than me.
Hey, he's not been on it. He's not been on here. That's
a good point. That's a good point, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually,
yeah.
You know, who needs millions of YouTube followers when I've been on the Miss Adventures podcast?
There you go.
That's the one. Seamless.
All he does is shout about people cooking rice.
We should do like a northern one. It's just people moaning about pies that don't have enough filling in them.
And we could go back to Wigan.
Yeah. Eat up, niece and nephew. I'm here with Jeffrey Starr at Wigan train station, and we're having a sausage roll and it's belting.
So, when you were over there doing your stand up, were you, apart from the support acts and things, were you there kind of like on your own, or were you out there with a group?
No. So I was out there on my own, but what I would do is I would travel from place to place, and the promoter would have sorted my hotel and sort of act as my liaison, as it were. So I always kind of knew where I was going, and sort of like I always kind of had a guide in the area. The only sort of exception to that being Jakarta, which is easily, again, along with Bratislava, it's the shittest place I've ever been to in my entire life. It's just dreadful.
Did you have any expectation of what it was going to be like before you went?
No, so I had no expectation of Jakarta. The thing is it is an enormous city. It's absolutely vast. Like you can't even comprehend it. So London has got 8-9 million people. Jakarta's got 20 million, not like 20 people. Just 20 people. It's absolutely vast. And it goes from the rich side of Jakarta is pretty rich, but the poor side, my lord above, it's so there's a lot of contrast in the city.
So you've been to so many places, and some maybe a little less travelled. There must be some just crazy stuff that's happened, or just the people. How people have interacted with you, and especially doing stand-up as well in different countries.
Well, the thing is especially when you go over to Asia, and again over in Indonesia, people would just stare at me in the streets in Indonesia and Vietnam and places like that, because I'm a big guy, I'm covered in tattoos, I've got a big beard, I look literally nothing like any of them. So I would walk, through a mall or down the streets and stuff, and people would be pointing and staring at me. It was like, like in Harry Potter when Hagrid tries to live in the normal world.
Oh,
do you know what I mean?
Weird.
And he takes the tube or whatever, and he's massive, and he takes up 3 seats, and there's a mother and child looking, wondering what the fuck's going on. It was like that. That was my life.
Yeah, but no one's getting in Hagrid's way, though, are they? So you must have had free reign.
What, like Godzilla in Tokyo?
Just throwing small Asian children out of his way as he's walking down the street.
Yeah, they're not going to mess with you, are they?
No. Well, that's it. But at the same time, it was a weird experience, man, just to be over there. I'll tell you something, though. Here's a question for you both. Have you ever flown on a blacklisted airline before? I have. Let me tell you a story. So,
please do.
So what you do in Europe, right? is if you want to book a flight in Europe, then what you do tend to is you book the cheapest flight available. You know what I mean? Because it's like Ryanair, EasyJet, who gives a fuck, right? You don't do that in Asia because the cheapest flight available is literally a tin can that lives in the sky. It's horrific, right? But I learnt this the hard way. So I was getting a flight from Bangkok to Jakarta. So I'm at the airport, right? And I've not cottoned on to anything, and I was flying with somebody called Lion Air, right? Lion. Right. Now, it's a 3-hour flight from Bangkok to Jakarta. You're pretty much going straight down, and it's pretty much water all the way, right? Now, I hadn't cottoned on to Lion Air or the reputation of Lion Air, but if you go over to Indonesia and you say the word Lion Air, it's kind of the same reaction as if you go over to the UK and you say the word Jimmy Savile. Like, people assume that something horrific has happened. Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So I'm queuing up, right? And I'm at the terminal, right? I'm at the gate, and it is just fucking pandemonium, right? Like, I've never seen anything like it. It looks so unorganised, and people are losing their shit. And I was like, how is this? Why does this feel weird? And so I Googled Lion Air. And I would hope that if you have time to Google Lion Air, you can do, because literally all there is stories about crashes, and
oh my God.
it's one of the most unsafe airlines in the world, and it was on a blacklist for many years as well.
I mean, I didn't want to say that. I have just Googled Lion Air, and you know, TripAdvisor, where all good airline reviews come from, one out of five, 1 out of 5. I mean, their biggest is a 3 out of 5. Now, if you're going on a plane, you don't really want to know that its highest rating is 3 out of 5 on TripAdvisor. Yeah,
if you're going on a plane, the last thing that you want is someone going, the best that's going to happen is you're going to have an average experience.
Yeah, that's where we're looking at.
So there's loads of scandals about Lion Air, right? There was scandals about them paying off airport staff to let them continue operating there because they were so dodgy. There's scandals about them going out and like the pilots getting pissed and stuff and flying and being absolutely fucked and all this stuff, right? But the scariest thing was that a month before, on the exact same trip, but the reverse journey, Jakarta to Bangkok, a Lion Air flight had taken off, literally got into problems immediately, crashed into the ocean, and everybody had died. Like 250 people had died. And I was doing it a month later, and I was thinking to myself, fuck. And honestly, I've never in my life come closer to like just cancelling it and getting a different flight. I was genuinely...
You didn't cancel it?
No.
I was fully expecting this story to go like, so I cancelled my flight and I went and paid like an extra 40 quid or whatever and got a new flight. But
I'm not even joking. This is how British I am, and how much British people want to be polite and that. This ran through my head. Well, my bags will already be on the plane by now.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I wouldn't want to inconvenience the poor staff by asking them to take my bags off the plane.
I don't think it's as much as inconveniencing them. I would worry, but like, do you know what? It doesn't sound like it's a great operation to get me and my bags to the destination. I don't want to confuse them by asking for my bags back.
Well, I mean, but that's the most British thing, isn't it? I would rather risk death than put somebody out a little bit.
So this is it, right? So I'm thinking to myself, I can't possibly be doing this. You know what I mean? I can't possibly, it's too scary to do it, you know, and all this. But I thought I've got no other, like, you know, I've got no other option here. So what I did was I got onto the plane, right, and I'm walking up the you know how planes have got those little cars next to them that have like a ladder on the side of them, like steps up the side.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's the ricketiest fucking thing. There's nothing there's nothing for you to hold on to either side. So you just have to walk up a plane with no handrail or anything. And I'm thinking,
just steps.
Yeah, it was just steps. It was burst steps. So I'm thinking, this is fucking shit. And the thing is once you've got it in your head, I'm looking at this plane, right, and I'm seeing it in a totally different light, and I'm looking around going, this isn't fucking right. There's rust everywhere. What the fuck is going on? And so I'm
it in
panicking.
The daytime?
Right?
Did you have a full view of the plane?
Yeah, it was about 11 o'clock in the morning. Do you know what? I don't think they have the capabilities to fly at night, quite frankly.
They've got no lights.
They've got 2 headlights out.
I hope they're relying on just more than light stamps.
I love the fact that you're still just plodding on, though. You're still going for it.
I'm sat in my seat, right? And my seat, I've got extra leg room because I'm not really a tall guy. I'm about 6 foot, but over in Asia, that makes you like a giant. Do you know what I mean? So they're giving me extra leg room, right? And opposite me is a air stewardess who's, that's where she's going to sit.
Who's currently praying.
Well, yes, she fucking did. Right. So listen to this, right? I'm waiting for everybody to come on, and I'm thinking, I shouldn't be fucking doing this. I shouldn't be doing this. And I'm shitting myself, right? And then before we get started, right? Before we get started, when the plane is just leaving the terminal and it's starting to make its way onto the runway, right? An announcement comes on and it goes bing bong, and then it says something in Indonesian, like whatever, and then it goes bing bong, it goes, thank you for flying Lion Air. We are legally obliged to tell you that from February to 2012 to July 2017, we were a blacklisted airline. But we're not anymore, so enjoy your flight. And I was like, fuck! So in my head, I was like, you cheeky bastards, you've literally told me at the last possible minute. Because there's nothing I can do about it now, is there? So we're getting onto the runway, and I'm thinking, like, I'm never a nervous flyer, but I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I am going to die. I'm going to die.
This is it. This is my last ever flight.
We take the ascent going up. So the plane takes off. We take the ascent going up. And it's what I can only describe it as being like is, do you remember when you were like 17, 18 and you got your first car and you and all of your mates packed out a little Fiat Punto and then you tried to drive it up a big hill and the car was like, I'm not fucking doing this.
Yeah.
It was like that, but it was an aircraft, right? And so I'm shitting my pants. I look over to the air stewardess who sat opposite me because we're taking the ascent, and she was praying. And I was like, this is fucked, right?
Well, the fact is, if a plane goes, I'm not doing it, it's death, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's the answer.
Exactly. And right, it was a 3.5 hour flight. It was the most sort of turbulence-ridden flight I've ever done in my entire life. It was fucking horrendous. Honestly, the worst experience ever.
Does turbulence normally bother you?
Well, no, because the thing is I've been told reliably that no plane in the last 40, 50 years has ever been taken down due to turbulence. It's just an annoying. It's uncomfortable, but it will not jeopardise the safety or integrity of an aircraft. But I looked at these planes that I was in, and I sort of calculated that there's a fairly good chance that these planes are over 50 years old. So whatever new update that they made, whatever anti-turbulence bumpers, planes of the last 30 years have got, these lot haven't fucking got them.
You're like, a cloud is taking this out.
Exactly. So I honestly shat myself. I got into Jakarta. I got down in Jakarta, and my point of reference, a guy called Eamon, who was, the promoter in Jakarta, he was like, how was your flight? And I said, mate, I've just flown with this company, Lion Air, and he just started pissing himself laughing. He was like, mate, you never fly Lion Air. You never fly Lion Air. Yeah, apparently... it had its ban lifted a few years ago from flying into European airspace, but for a long time, it's classed as one of the most dangerous airlines in the world.
And you've survived that, so there you go.
They should be selling tickets. I survived Lion Air.
Well, at least now, any other flight that you get on, you just think, do you know what? If it was going to happen, it would have happened then. So it's going to be fine from now on. All flights will be fine.
Well, do you know what? From there on, I did Qantas, and I've honestly never been somebody to pay more than bottom basement for my flights because I'm cheap or whatever. But I would much rather have paid the extra £20-30 and not constantly think like I was going to die.
Solidly for 3 hours.
That's a long 3 hours.
Oh, this is another thing as well. Oh my God, I completely forgot this. I can't believe I forgot this. So basically, they moved me from one seat to another seat, and they were like, excuse me, sir. They were like, you're going to need to sit at this other end of the aircraft. Is that all right? And I was like, yeah, that's fine. You know, is there any problems or anything like that? And they went, no problems. We're just making sure that we balance out the weight of the aircraft. And I was like, there are 200 people on this fucking plane.
And you still didn't get off.
So they made out you were the counterweight.
Yeah, like at best, I mean, I understand that I'm a big guy and I'm probably like about 3 of your normal passengers. But fuck me, like there's 200 of us here. Like, are you? I imagined in my head that the pilot had like a spirit level on top, and he went, "Oh no, the bubble's not central. The bubble's not central. We'll never get off the ground."
Go and find that big English fella. Shift him.
Yeah, he'll do. Put him to the back. He can be the counterweight. So you landed eventually, probably feeling a little bit, thankful. And then, so where did you go from there?
Jakarta to Bali, and then Bali to Singapore, Singapore to Ho Chi Minh in Vietnam, and then Vietnam to Kuala Lumpur.
So you had quite a lot of your tour left. This was on your tour, right?
Yeah.
So you're probably thinking, I actually might not make the rest of my tour.
That wasn't a priority in my mindset. Like I was thinking more about like not seeing my family again. Do you know what I mean?
Maybe.
I wouldn't be like, oh no, I'll never get to go to play Vietnam Comedy Club or whatever.
It's pretty selfish though. All those people that have bought tickets to see you, and there's you risking your life on Lion Air. They bought them tickets in good faith.
Oh man. The thing with Indonesia is that they are the Indonesian mentality is very different to ours in that they are very much what's the word? They believe that their lives are in the hands of God. And so they actually give a shit an awful lot less. So you will see whole Indonesian families sharing one tiny little bicycle, and they don't give a there's like a 2-year-old balancing on the bloody handlebars or whatever with no helmet or safety, wriggling about and stuff. They don't care because they genuinely believe that their lives are in the hands of God, and whatever happens is God's will, which is a fairly freeing way to to live your life. But what it means is that they don't really worry about the fact that all these planes crash, because they go, oh, it's God's will, and also it's like 10 quid cheaper. So that's just their mentality. It's fucking mental.
Yeah. Like God's got a plan.
You'll genuinely see whole families sharing one crappy motorbike. You'll have dad on the front, mum on the back. You'll have a kid like who's like a 5-year-old, 6-year-old child that mum is essentially wearing like a backpack, and then you'll have like dad in the front holding a baby, and he'll be like one-handed. There'll be one helmet between them, and that'll go to dad, because in their minds, you can, you like, as horrible as it sounds, you can make another kid, but if anything happens to dad, then who brings in the the money? Who brings in the money? So that's the one person that they have to protect the most. It's mental. The mentality is mental.
It's crazy.
Oh my goodness. So the travel doesn't sound amazing, but when you were there, how was your hotel? Was that okay?
The first hotel that I stayed in was horrific. It was like a, it looked like someone had been playing Jumanji in my hotel room.
Here.
Yeah, and they were at the early levels just before the hunter comes. And I opened the door and there was like mosquitoes and shit flying out. And I was like, oh, fuck this. So I ended up moving to the Holiday Inn, which was lovely. They do a cracking nasi goreng, which I became sort of semi-addicted to. The food over there is unbelievable. It honestly blows my mind how this is a country that doesn't have pavements and yet has much better cuisine than our own. Like, what are they doing?
Yeah, exactly.
God, yeah.
I have heard the food over there is like really good and like really fresh, and everything's really fresh and just really nice.
What's incredible as well is that you can go to a street vendor that is like a 60-year-old Indonesian woman that literally stands in front of a dirty like road with a crappy cart that looks like it was made like handmade with like one wok that she's never washed in her life. and she'll make you like a meal for like a very small amount of rupiah, and it will be the most beautiful thing in the like it will be gorgeous. She will be able to run rings around professional restaurants and stuff, and all she's got in front of her is, you know, one wok, a little bit of knowledge, and a very dirty road, and she'll smash it, absolutely smash it. It's like there are definitely secrets to cooking that they have, because the way that they make food is just superb. But I found that really true about pretty much the whole of Asia. The only time that I would eat stuff that I would consider to be a bad meal was in Bali, and that's because they were trying to cook stuff that they thought Australians would like. So, I was in... Oh, God, what bit did I stay in Bali? I didn't really know Bali very well, so I stayed in... it's like the party place that I stayed in, and there's a load of Australians that stay there. And so pretty much every place that served food tried to cater it to an Australian palate. And it was like, guys, just cook your own stuff. You're fucking amazing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, like just like changing the recipes to suit what they think that tourists want, when actually what we want is to try the local stuff and what they're actually really, really good at, rather than just eating things that you can probably get at home, maybe. So when you were there, like in Bali, did you go on like nights out and things when you were there? Like, what was the nightlife there like?
Oh, went on loads of nights out and stuff. Absolutely fantastic. Do you know what? It kind of, where I was, it kind of had a feel of sort of like, you know, those like 18 to 30s places and stuff. It was like that, but it was more like for adults. But it was fantastic, man. It was great nights out and stuff, and I ended up meeting this dude, this Australian guy who stayed at the same hotel as me, who was sort of travelling out there as well. There's loads of Australian guys, you know, around there, and he goes there regularly, and he took me to some places over there, like, you know, beaches and stuff, and, you know, got to watch the sunset, you know, setting over, you know, a beach in Bali and stuff like that. It's just incredible.
Yeah, like it is one place, it's somewhere that I've always wanted to go to. I do want to get there eventually, because they have like the parties on the beaches and everything, don't they?
Yeah.
And
it's incredible.
Things like that.
It's absolutely incredible. Like you go round and you just it's mind blowing. Do you know what I mean? You can ride elephants through the jungle and stuff like that. It's just unbelievable.
On your tour then, after you've been to Bali, is there anywhere that, I know you've mentioned a few places like the capitals and things, some of them they weren't great, but is there anywhere in particular that you would just advise somebody just never go there, and for what reason?
Do you know what? I would never sort of say to somebody that you should never go somewhere, because I think that you can find things anywhere. Do you know what I mean? Like you can find different things in places. Like, even though I went to Bratislava and there's literally nothing to do there. You could get a full bottle of beer, the bottle being like as big as my forearm, for about 80 pence. Do you know what I mean? Like it's great to go out and get drunk, you know, if you really want to do that. You know, I've been to places like, for example, Romania, where there's nothing to do. You know, like Bucharest, there's nothing to do tourist-wise, but the food's incredible, you know, alcohol and nightlife incredible, and the people are great as well. So, you know, there's nowhere where I would turn around and say you should never, ever go there, because I think that if you can't find a redeeming feature about a place, it's because you've not looked hard enough.
So when I was on my travels in America, to be honest, I didn't do a huge amount of research before I went. I was just like, yeah, I kind of want to go here, kind of want to go there, and then I'll just see all the places in between. And as I was making my way from kind of like Tennessee and when I spent time in the Smoky Mountains, then I was going up towards Canada. I spent a night in Pittsburgh.
Really?
Pittsburgh is not one of them places that you really hear too much about, apart from obviously like the football team.
Yeah, Steelers.
Like, yeah, might be fine. They've got a big football team, you know, be okay. I went, it was the one place on the whole trip that I was like praying the renter car would not like break down or get a flat tire or something like that. It was scary.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting, but it was a bit like, you know how like all the roads were like really steep, you know how like you see they are in like San Francisco and places like that. All the roads were like seem really, really steep, but it just was, there was just a lot of just alleys and things like that, and I was like, what am I going to do? I'm here for like a whole like evening. I think might have been stay there for 2 days, and I was like, what am I going to do? So I found somewhere that was really good for donuts and went and did that and got some donuts. And I went to some like botanical gardens and things, and I just had a walk around that. And to be honest, it was fine because I'd had such a full-on trip for so long. It was kind of nice to just do something where you didn't have to pay too much attention.
I mean, Smoky Mountains to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh's Pennsylvania, isn't it?
Yeah.
So you'll have gone, through West Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll have had a big drive, won't you? You'll have had like a long old drive. I've never been. Do you know what? I've always wanted to go to America. I've always wanted to travel around America. And the only place that I've been in America is Florida, which isn't really America, is it? Do you know, like Disney World isn't really America. It's like...
Oh, see, I've done the whole coast of Florida, but I haven't done Disney.
I mean, I only did it when I was like 15, and my mum and dad were like, come on, let's do it. Nah, man, not keen. But I really wanted to go to New York. I was meant to be going to New York this last year. So last year, I managed to squeeze in Bucharest just before the pandemic, and then we were meant to go to New York and sort of do like a Thanksgiving type thing. And obviously, like, I really love American stand-up, and all my heroes are from New York and around there and play those sort of clubs. And so, you know, I wanted to do that as sort of like a homage. But yeah, wasn't able to. But I would love to go traveling around America. There's 3 places that I want to go to in America, sort of like more than anywhere. The first one is New York, standard. I mentioned that.
Yeah.
The second one is New Orleans, and then the third one is Oakland, because I watch a series in America called Last Chance U. I don't know if you watch it. It's on Netflix. And one of the seasons is set in a college in Oakland, and it just looked amazing. And so those are my 3 places that I want to go.
Where's Oakland? What state's that in?
Downtown California, downtown San Francisco, basically.
Oh, okay. I haven't been that far west. That's like one of my next road trips that I want to do. But yeah, New York is brilliant. I think New York is mixed though. Like some people I think absolutely love it, and other people like no, hate it. It's just like London. But New Orleans is good. It can just be a little bit scary at night.
Really?
Yeah.
How come?
I was I would girl on my own. So
I
it might be
see.
a little bit different. But when I got to the hotel and stuff, like the people there were like, if you're going to go out tonight for a drink, make sure that you get an Uber to the bar you're going to, or to where all the bars are, and get an Uber back. Don't walk back on your own.
Did they?
Things like
Did they
that.
all speak? Did they all speak in that gorgeous kind of Cajun
Oh my God, yes.
dialect? If you're gonna go out tonight, then you're gonna get Uber back home. You know? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
my last question was going to be, where do you want to go next? And you answered that on your own perfectly. Well, thanks for coming on and sharing your stories.
Sweet. Thanks very much for having us, guys.
Wow, what an episode. So, Stamps, how do you feel about flying now?
I'm going to be honest, not much better.
Why not? I think what you should learn from today's episode is as long as you pay an extra 20 quid for a flight, you will be absolutely fine.
What we've learned from today's episode is don't spend £5 to fly on a blacklisted airline.
Yeah, exactly. And all will be okay.
Good life lesson.
Yeah. So on that note, let's leave it there. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram. Just search Misadventures in Travel.